Okay. Now, there is something I love doing whenever I'm working with Excel, and I call it my setup sheet. It's like my rough sheet. My rough sheet. There are times that I really want to do some dirty work behind the scenes. And with that dirty work, I don't really want to use the sheet I'm working on for that kind of work. So what I normally do is to create a new sheet. Oh, sorry. What I do is to create a new sheet inside of Excel, so that I can inside of the workbook that I'm using, so that I can actually use that sheet to do my manipulations here and there. Now that brings us to what we call linking data across um, sheets. In Excel, you can actually, you see, all that we have been doing previously. Let's just say, let me use this fresh sheet. So with this one, we can all just open our Excel, any workbook, and then we start. Let's just say I have this small data here. And the basic thing we have been doing all along, probably using functions, is let's say just 4 plus 5. Then we know it will give us the answer here. Or let's just say we are using two separate cells, this cell and then that cell, and we want the answer to be maybe here, like that. So we are going to say that cell B2 or cell F2 equals B2 plus D2, which is cell referencing. We're actually using cell referencing in this case. So if I type in here 4 and I type in here 5, so let's say 4, I'm getting 8 here. But you see, whatever is happening here, all the calculations that are happening here, everything is happening on this one sheet. Let's just say I want to generate an ID. But the ID that I want to generate, I remember last week in our lessons, we looked at ID generation using left, right, like text manipulations. But we did everything on one sheet. But let's just say I want to do some of them on a separate sheet and then have the results displaying somewhere else. That is where we can link, that is where we link sheets, or we link workbooks. We can link data across sheets, and at the same time we can link data across workbooks. So let's just say this 4. I want the other 4, or I want the other results to come from somewhere else. So please check very well. I have sheet 1 here and sheet 2. I have sheet 1 and then sheet 2. So let's say I have 4. I have 5 here. Or let's just say let me color a cell rather. I love to do it that way so that we can. I have this cell colored. This cell is actually going to give me just a figure. I'm going to enter just one figure in here. And after I enter the figure, I want you to magically produce another result here. Maybe I want you to multiply yourself by a particular kind of number. But that number, I have placed it in sheet 1. I have placed that number in sheet 1. So let me come to sheet 1 and just type any number here. Let's just say this 4. This 4 is a static number I am placing in sheet 1. Let me remove all these things. When I come to sheet 2, what I can do here, I want my results to appear here in this cell. So what I am doing here is to type a number in here, and after I type the number, I want that number to multiply itself by 4 here, and rather produce the results here. I want to type in a number here. The number will multiply itself by this number here, and then bring me the results in this black cell. So I type 4, I type 5 here, and I want my results here to be a multiplication of this cell, the value here, and then this one. So how do I do it? I can easily come here and type equals. Then equals, I'm going to do 5 times, but this time round, I'm going to click on sheet 1 and then come and select this cell and hit enter like that. Now check the formula very well. Check the formula very well and see what is happening. We are actually linking 2 sheets, linking data across. This what I'm doing is very basic. After that, we will go to the data set and then use it to do something bigger. We are actually linking data across these 2 sheets. So what are we doing? We are linking 2 cells. But instead of bringing my my escape key instead of directly typing that maybe 5 times 4 is equal to that number, I am rather saying that I am keeping the 4 here. So it's just like I don't want the 4 appearing there because maybe I'm going to have I'm going to have multiple values in multiple cells. So let me just do make here, I think 8. That's what I want to do. So if I go across, I'm going to have something of this sort. So maybe I want to have the results going downwards this way. If you remember, we did absolute referencing and then relative referencing. So I want here to be absolute, not relative. So I want every cell here to be picking their values from here, to be picking the number they will be multiplying from cell B2 in sheet 1. So what I do here is to come back and probably I will rather, instead of here, it is this cell B2 that you are going to actually make or something like this. Then I just move it across the board. So what is happening right now is that for each of these cells, we are actually linking data across each of these cells. Sorry, across sheets. So from sheet 1 to sheet 2. And like I'm saying, what I'm doing right now is very basic. It's very, very basic. So let's just say I have this data here and I have another data. No, let me see. Let me split this into 2. Let me split this into 2 like this. So let me say data set 2. Good. Then I want to make this go off from country. I want them to go off here. Then I want country to go off. So if country goes off, that means I want this side to also go off like that. So I have these 2 data sets, and inside sheet 1, I want us to do something with these 2 data sets inside sheet 1. Now check something. In here, I have country, language, certificate, and all that. And here, I have release date, time run, journal, director, studio, something of the sort. Now, I want to link this data in such a way that probably we can have we can have some of the cells like linking or producing one kind of information. So let's just say I want to pull the name and then the country of each person, and I want the results to be here. So let's go. This is what I want to do. So what I want to do here is to come here and probably I will use, since we have done text manipulation and all that, I will use concatenation to produce something really nice here. So let's start by saying concat text 1. Now I want to say that this person comes from this country, or the director of this individual is that person. So where do we have the names of the individuals? We have their names here. We have their names here, the director's names here. So we can say, okay, this director comes from that country, or this director has that budget, or yes, or yeah, this director comes from that country. Let me put it that way. So who is the first director here? Stephen. So we select Stephen. Data set D2. Stephen. Then probably we will say Stephen comes from. Then we go. Remember to bring your comma. We are actually working with concat. So it will ask for text 1, text 2, up to infinity. So data set 1. Data set 2 D2, cell D2 comes from. Then I want the remaining information to come from here. Then I hit enter. So now you see that it says Steven Spielberg comes from United States. Okay, here I need to separate United States from the come from. So I'll bring an open inverted commas like this. Open quotation marks. You just open it up once and then you hit enter so that it will separate the two. Steven Spielberg comes from United States. If I double click, if I autofill this downwards, it will do for the rest up to wherever it is supposed to reach. So now you realize that it is directly, I have linked three data sheets. I have linked 3 data sheets into one. And I'm using it to show some kind of information. So you can have data at different places and still link them. In that same way, you can have data seated somewhere. There is a formula, like I said, there is a formula I would wish that you know. It's quite, let's say, an intermediate formula. But I want everybody to pay rapt attention. There is this set of, let's say, functions. There is this set of functions. We call them the lookup functions. We have the lookup itself. The lookup function. We have the lookup itself. We have the H lookup. We have the V lookup. And then in some versions of Excel, you will get X lookup. We have lookup itself. They all have their master, which is index match. But that is a combination of two formulas, two functions coming together to form a very powerful formula. I want to create, I want to teach something. I want you to know something here. So I'm intentionally going to teach you that VLOOKUP formula. The VLOOKUP function. It's a very powerful one. Probably in some of our lessons we are going to relook at that. Linking of sheets can be very basic, But now I want us to do something. I want to introduce the VLOOKUP function so that we will use it to also do some 1 or 2 things. Now, this data. Let's just say I want to introduce some dummy ID. So let's go and make this ID a dummy one. Let me change everything here to text, because what I want to do, I need to have it as a text. So 001. Now, let's just say all of these guys, they have this ID, and then I want to pull data or link these records across sheets using a function. What I did earlier is very basic, like I said. For that one, just data here, data there, you pull together. Data here, data there, then you pull. So we just do the linking. So please, if anybody has any question about this one, the person should let us know. Then I continue. First, like I said, it is simply you starting probably a new formula. Anytime you introduce the equal to sign, you are starting a formula. Even if you type just one here, it is a formula that you have actually put there. Yes, so don't think a formula has to be very complex. Formulas can be very simple. Good. Now, you just starting it this way and then hitting the sheet you want to pick data from and then producing it. That is all. This one is straightforward. It's straightforward. Then we come to where I want to actually use a function or a formula to pull this kind of data. You are still doing some form of linking. By this time around, you are doing it across sheet using, how do we call it? A function, or sorry, a formula. Now, let's just say I want to type in my ID here. So let's say type ID here. So type my ID here. Now, when I type the ID, I want to pull something from the ID that I have typed. I want to pull something from here. I want to pull, see, this record is rough. Let's just say you have been given this sheet record and your boss is like, you know something, I don't want to see these things. I want you to hide them somewhere so that when somebody comes and the person wants to probably find, how do we call it? I want to find the ID of people, and then when I type the ID, show me the budget that they actually used, or show me their names and the budget that they used in actually producing the movie. Good. If I don't know, okay, so let's say their names, the studio, and then the budgets they use. Let's say something like that. But what I want to do is that I want to type the person's ID. So this is what my boss wants. My boss wants me to type the person's ID in here. Let me use we have learned some of these things, so there is no need explaining too much. I want to type the person's ID here. Then it will give me the director. So when I type the ID, it will give me the director's name. Then the director, probably the studio the movie was produced in, and then probably the budget that was used. What I'm doing, there is a better way to approach this, but I'm doing it in a simpler way for all of us to actually see how we can also do complex linking using formulas. So I will introduce a formula, or sorry, a function known as the VLOOKUP. Like I said, there are so many lookups. You have the H lookup. The H lookup simply means horizontal lookup. You have the vertical lookup. If you come here, they are all here. They are all here. Where do we have the lookups? Yeah, lookup and references. They are all here. We have the lookup. We have the VLOOKUP, the X lookup. Then we have the H lookup somewhere up here. Yeah, H lookup like that. So let's look at what the lookup does. So we want to type the person's ID here, and then we want the director's name to come here. So what I'll do is I'll type equal to VLOOKUP. My caps has also gone bonkers. It's also not working. So what I want to do is that when I type in this VLOOKUP, it will give me a breakdown of how the formula looks like, how the function actually looks like. So this function, we have already been introduced to functions last week. This function actually takes a lookup value. So what value is it going to look? What table? Then the next thing it will take is a table array. So what is the table array? Like where should it find the information from? One disadvantage with this kind of function is that it only looks for the data in one way. It only looks for the data vertically, but it picks the records horizontally. It searches for the data vertically and picks the record horizontally. So it will go column by column and then look for where it is. But you need to specify which column you should look for that data. Excel starts its indexing from 1, sort of. The next thing it will ask you for is the column index. So which column? The column index is not the Excel column you are working with, no. But your column you selected, the table you selected. And then the range of the look is either true or false. So should it produce an approximate range? For that, an approximate match. That one, if you are working with numbers, it can pick the closest to the approximation of whatever results you are looking for. If you do an exact match, it will actually look for the exact thing. If it doesn't find it, it will not produce anything, or it will produce an error or something of the sort. So right now, where is our lookup value? So we are going to work across these two sheets. The first value is it is picking the first value from here. The lookup value from here. So this is where we will type in the value. Then what are we looking for? We are looking for the director, right? We are going to look for the director's name. When the director's ID is entered, we want to pull the director's name. So we have table array. So where do we go for the table array? So now you bring your comma, and then you go and look for the table array. So this time around, we are not going to look for the table array here, but we are going to link it to a sheet. Because we don't have the data here, and we don't want the data to even appear here. We want the data to be seated somewhere else thinking about itself. Then here we'll be beautifully showing just this information. Then when we key in, it pulls. When we key in, it pulls. So we come to where we have this if statement. Sorry, I used the same name. You should have changed it to something else, but I believe you all do understand. Then I want to actually, because I can expand my data and all that, I would want to start from here, right? And then copy everything down here. So let me see if my it's still working. Yeah, my shifts and control keys are still working. So like I showed you the last time, you can use control and then shift, control shift key, arrow key down, then it will select everything for you. So I have selected every record from here to 404, 0404, like that. Now I have to hit comma. But mind you, here it is always advisable, because you may be copying the formula across. It's always advisable to lock your columns and then your rows so that the table stays within. So it's always advisable to lock your columns and your rows this way. So you lock for both range. You lock for both range, like that. Now when I come to the next, it's asking me for the column number. Now, the column number this time round is not the Excel columns up here, but actually the table we selected. In our case, we actually started with A. When we started this training, I took you to cell referencing, R1C1 referencing style. Excel doesn't start, you see, in programming, indexing. There's something in programming we call index. In programming, if you are in the classroom, you will start your counting from 1, 2, 3. But programming, we actually start counting from 0. We don't start counting from 1. We start counting from 0, 1, 2, 3, and we call it index. So it is a form of counting in programming. But when you come to Excel, Excel doesn't do that. Excel actually starts from 1. That is why we have the R1C1 reference. It also picks its logics from there. So it doesn't start from R0C1 or R0C0. It starts from 1. So what we are actually doing here is we are going to read per our table. The table we have, we are going to read from 1. This is so if this had started from, I should have maybe started the whole data from column C so that you understand what I'm saying better. It is not because the data starts from column A, that is why I'm starting numbering from column A as 1. No. If the data had started, if what I'm picking had started from column B, if let's say the ID were in column B, I'll start my counting of 1, 2, 3 from column B. I believe it is clear. So I'm starting my counting from column A because that is where the data I'm working with starts from. Let's just say, you see this one, it is up to M. You see, but if you check critically, the whole information we are picking, KLM may not even come. So you can decide to even end at J. So maybe the M, I can decide to change it to J to end my data there because I wouldn't be needing KLM. Now the column index number is where I will have to, this time I'm actually pulling director. So what I would want to do is to start by saying, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Director is in column 5 of my table array, not my data set here. My table array, the table array I'm working with, director is in column 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I type here 5. What am I looking for? I'm looking for the exact information there. So I'll just select exact or type in 0. If you type in 0, it's the same thing. Or you can simply come and select exact like that, false. Then you close your formula. Now you have created a formula out of the function. Then you hit enter. It tells you NA. NA simply means not applicable because it doesn't see any data here. Let's just type in how does this start? Starts 0001. Okay. So let's type in. Make sure to change the number formatting here to text. So that you can type in your 001. I mean for the where you'll be typing your ID. So 0001. I hit enter. And then I'll see it has pulled Steven Spielberg for me. Director. If I type in 00, let's say 20, it will come and pull Gore Verbinski. Whoever. Verbinski, maybe, yeah, that's it. Gore Verbinski. So in this same way, you might be in the office, you will see something of this data of this sort, and they just want you to type in somebody's ID, and then the person's name will appear, whilst the data is actually missing in view. So we can hide this. I'll show you how to hide this sheet so that it won't appear at all. If the person opens the workbook, the only thing the person will see is sheet 1. Or let's say search. Let's do something like searcher. Forget the English. Searcher, something of the sort. So you see the same thing we are doing here, but mind you, because this one we want to copy and paste, or we want to just move into the next cell, the studio cell, what I would want to do is to actually lock this. So now I can now copy this to this copy. I'm copying. So if you are copying, you can simply hold the sides of the cell, hold down Control, and then move the cell here, and it will change. But this time round, I'm not doing 5. Studio is in 6. So I'll come back here and then change this 5 to 6. This is a beautiful way to link sheets. This is one beautiful way to link sheets. Then we can do the same thing, or you can simply copy everything from here. Copy, if you don't want trouble. Copy, and then, okay, my escape key is not working still. Okay, yeah, I think. Come here and then paste the whole thing in here, like that. no, it won't work for me because yeah. So my escape key is not working. So when I copy, I can't come down and just do simple. Let me see if I can paste it. Yeah, okay, it has worked for me here. Good, good. So right now, this one is budget. So the budget, I'll come here to, this is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So budget is 10. So right now, I'll come here and then type 10 like that. And then it will give me the budget. Last week, you did accounting and all that. You did the accounting stuff. So you can come here and then put your currency there beautifully for it to show. Oh, sorry, this one they are using dollars. So dollars like that. So you put your dollar sign there beautifully. So this time round, if I type in here 150, let's just say 150 like that, 0150, and I hit, it will show me the director as Michael Mann, Morgan, Creek, whatever. Then it will give me the budget. So the director with ID 0150. Probably you don't want to do that. Probably you want to. I had wanted to see the movie name here. Yes, if there was something like movie name, like we would have used the movie name to pull. So let's just say that there is something like a movie name after C, runtime. So you could have, excuse me, you could have used that information, the movie name. We type in the movie name, and then it will pull the name of the director, the studio the movie was done, and the budget. We can also do it that way. So if you are in a firm, if you handle data in your firm, and all you do is to scan through plenty data all the time to search for who, okay, so this 301, the name is Raja, the director is Raja, you can simply do this sheet linking using this powerful function to simply, so okay, so that director bears this ID. So if I enter the ID number of that director or that staff member, the name comes, whatever assignments I've given it also comes. So let's just say I don't even want to show this. You can simply come here and then do hide. We have advanced way of hiding sheets. If you simply type hide, the record won't go away. The record isn't deleted. You haven't deleted it, you have just hidden it. So I can still come here and then type, let's say 351, and then I'll still pull records. This time around, if you check the tabs, I only have the searcher tab there. Let me even color it, make it look beautiful. I have the searcher tab, only the searcher tab. But everything that I do, every ID that I change, please. Last week, Lacrace spoke to you about formatting here, and he said every sheet is automatically locked by Excel. So once you protect the sheet, the cell becomes, based on how you protected the sheet, the cell becomes untouchable. So by default, because you wouldn't want, if you created this thing for someone, you wouldn't want the person to have access to the values, the formulas you have created in here. Else, if the person deletes just one or distorts anything in here, the whole thing will return an error. If there is nothing in here, it will say any. This one you can handle it beautifully, and I'm going to use a nested function to show you something here. So there is actually a function called if any, if not applicable. So I'll just come to the beginning of the VLOOKUP and just do if, and it will tell you if any. So I will select this, if any. Then it will say value. So if any, what should I do? If any, what should I do? So the value if, so if this is the value you want to actually produce, is the VLOOKUP. But if the VLOOKUP, there is no value to be produced, just show me something. Show me something like enter ID, enter ID, something of the sort. This is just a string. Then I'll hit enter. So you see that instead of showing NA, it's rather showing enter ID. So you can do it for this one and the other one. The formula is straightforward. Now this is a formula because I've combined two functions, and we call it, this is a nested function. So a nested formula. This is a nested formula using if any. So if not applicable. So if there is an error, if there is an error, show me this. But as a matter of fact, this is the value I want you to show. This is what I want you to show: the results of VLOOKUP, D3, if statement. That is, if statement is that sheet named if statement. Then everything we have learned. That is what you must show me. But if there is nothing to be shown, show this text, enter ID, like that. So if I now come here and type, say, 202, it's now, oh sorry, there is no 202, it's actually 0202. So it's now just shows me James Cameron, Brandywine Productions, then it shows me the budget beautifully. So this is that formula. We are going to look at what we call conditional formatting. Last week, Lacrace walked us through formatting. Then we saw how we can probably make here bold, change the font type, the font style, and all that. We saw many ways to actually handle text in cells. Now, there is a way to actually make the text automatically change itself to something else. And you use what we call conditional formatting. Conditional formatting actually changes the face or changes the formatting style of the values in a cell based on a particular condition. If we say we are going to go through every single thing inside conditional formatting, then it will be like we are going to use 2 weeks to cover conditional formatting because there is a lot in there. If I say I am walking you through everything too, I can use, let's say, 30 minutes to walk you through everything, but I can tell you that at the end of the day, it will be better we never learned it. Let's take it one after the other. So conditional formatting, basically, like I said, what it does is that it actually changes a cell, a cell's formatting based on a certain condition. Now, let's just do some of the basics, which I don't usually love to use. Let me open these columns up so that we can view things better. Now, let's take the values in May. When you hit conditional formatting, which is under the home tab, in the home tab, you will see conditional formatting. Now, when you hit it, you will see 5 basic categories already made ready for you. So you can use that basically to do your own stuff. But normally, I love to use the new rule. These 3 are the magic. The new rule, the clear rules, the manage rules. They are the magic within conditional. Everything you see here is already in here. But let's start with the basics. So let's just say that I want to highlight values. So I want to do something to the values that are less than a particular value. These are very huge values. So let's just say we have nothing. So let's just say we have 2005, something like a brick. The brick I can see here is like, let's say 3,000. 3,000. Let me use 3,005. The brick will be 3,005. Well, let's say the average will be like 3,005 or something of the sort. So let me select this. You see, I've selected all the cells in May. Every cell in May, I've selected it. So now let me come to conditional formatting, and then let's use the first one, highlight cells rules, less than. Let's select less than. So what are you trying to tell it? It should highlight, it says that format cells that are less than. It's actually picked 10,000. Used the this is the average. This is the correct average. 10,000. But we don't want that. We want to use like say 3,500, like that. You should highlight cells that are less than 3,500. Then what should it color should it give? You should make it light red, fill with dark red text, something of that. So these are like already made. These are already made conditional format. So what we have here, any value that is less than 3,500 will be highlighted. So if I change this 8,000 something to say, or let me come and pick this one, to say 2,000, it's going to highlight it. If I change this one to say 3,450, it is going to highlight it. So that is a rule. We've put a rule in there. You can come to June and do a different kind of. So you see, this thing, if under normal circumstances, we would have been doing the search, and then we would have been saying that, okay, this value, we are looking for all values that are say less than 2,000 or less than 3,000. So we will say that, oh, this one is 3,000, this one is 557. Okay, so we want to make the text, red, and then we want to make make here say light green. Okay, so we will come and search. Okay, this one too is the same thing, so we will do the same thing. Okay, now this one is higher than 3,000. Okay, this one is more than. Okay, this one is also higher than. Okay, this one is less. My friend, so if you have records of over 100,000, we are going to sit there and be doing this thing one by one. No, that's why Excel has given you that opportunity to actually do this thing using conditional formatting. So let's select all of these ones. This time around, the same thing we did here. I don't want us to use the default. Like I said, for the default, we are not going to go there too much. Everything is inside this new rule. Everything is inside this new rule. Good. Now we will start with format only cell. The rules are 6. The general category of rules are 6. We have format all cells based on their values. So even with that, you have you have some options to color into scale, color in, or use data bars, or use icon sets, whichever way you want to go about it. You will come here. I don't want to start with the huge ones to confuse you. Now, let's start with the very basic ones, which is format only cells that are above or below average, or format cells that contains, or format cells. So we are going to use below or above average. So this one is, it will automatically find the average of these numbers. It will automatically find the average of these numbers and then apply your formatting to it. It will find the average and apply your formatting to it. So this time around, let's say we want values that are above average. Then you can come to format. You come to format, and then you tell it how it should do it. So if it is above average, we want it to change the color of the text, like I was doing there, to red. Then it should fill. So you see that we have number, we have font, we have border, and we have fill. So it's just like doing number formatting. It's just like doing the normal cell formattings that we did last week. So we come to, let's say whenever it is this is above average. I think we selected above average. Let me see. Yeah, if whenever it is above average, we want it to show red, and then we want it to probably fill the whole thing with the light green that we did earlier. Then maybe we want it to also give it some border lines across, all across. Where is that thing? So outline everything. Outline the border all across. Then we click OK. Now you see that it will give us a highlight here. So now when we click OK again, it has now highlighted every value that is above excuse me, every value that is above average based on our format. It's the same thing we did here, using similar thing we did here, using the greater than, less than, or you can even come and use, yes, we have bottom, top and bottom rules too, which we have the bottom, top and bottom rules, we have above and below average. So we can also take the top 10, top particular, let's say top 10, bottom 10, top 10%, bottom 10%. We can do all that. This one, like I said, you need to play around them. Now, if we want to apply another rule, we can come to new rule. This time around, see, we are applying the rule on the same set of records that we selected. That means that the conditional formatting you can apply on the same cells multiple times and they will still be there. Now let's just say that the first one we said above average. Now we want to say below average. So if it is below average, we want to also probably make it bold. We want to make the font bold. We want to make it bold and italics. And then we want to probably underline it. Then we want the color to maybe be something like blue, something of the sort. We don't want to fail. We don't want to do anything to it. Then we click OK. Then OK. So you see that all the numbers that are above average, they have a different, they look differently. Those that are below average, they look differently. So if I come here and probably I type something like 500 or 55, you see it automatically changes the formatting style based on the value that is there. And the value is actually below average. Beautifully. You see, there are times that it's not only numbers it works with. It also works on text. So let's just say, for now, I want to use contains on numbers, then I'll come to on text. Do we have some multiple names in here? It seems like we don't have. Okay, we have some multiple names in here. So now let's see something. This information here, I want that everywhere we see William, the name William, it should do something to that cell. Any cell that contains the name William, because I can see some multiple Williams here and there. So any cell that contains, so let's just say this one is also called William Robertson. So William Robertson, Robinson, like that. So now I select everything here like this. Then I come to conditional formatting. I can easily come here and then say that text that contains, and I do it straight away. Text that contains, and I do it straight away. Or I can come to new rule. And say format only cells that contain. Now this format only cell that contains, it doesn't only work with, how do we call it, text. It works with numbers. Format only cells that contain, sorry, I said format only text. So when you come here, you can do cell value, specific text, dates occurring, blanks, no blanks, errors, and no errors. So you can actually highlight cells that contain errors, like we saw when we did the VLOOKUP something. You can highlight blank cells. You can highlight cells that are not blank. You can highlight dates that occur within a specific period of time. Or you can highlight cell values between some specific endpoints. This time around, we want to do some specific text. And the text containing. Look, we have containing. When you select specific text, it will give you some options here too. Text containing, not containing, beginning with, and then ending with. Containing, not containing, beginning with, and ending with. I want to do containing. So I'll just type in here William. Then if it sees anything with William, I want it to bold in it. I want to make it bold. I want to even strike through. I want to strike through. In fact, you can do anything you want to. Let's not make things elaborate for ourselves. Let's just simplify stuff. So I want to just fill it black, or let's say any color at all. I want to fill. Then I want to make the font color white. I didn't see preview here. The filling didn't hit me. Okay, let me see. Let me just I'm seeing this. Just fill it red. Come here. The font, then color white. Okay, let me see if when I preview it will come. When I preview, I'm not seeing the color white. So let me just remove the fill. Okay. Sorry, I did the font too red. Yeah, sorry. Okay, so font white. Good. So I have this. Then I hit OK. Look at it beautifully. It has highlighted anyone with the name William attached to his name. We have Bitman William, we have Davis William, we have William Robinson or whatever. So even if I remove A and it becomes William, it automatically filters it out. Not this is not we are not doing filtering, but it automatically removes it, change the formatting back to normal. So if I change Florist to say Floristia to say William, automatically it pulls it out. That is the power. Now let's just say numbers in between. I can select these whole cells again, come to conditional. So listen, the idea behind conditional formatting, if you have observed what is going on right now, the idea behind conditional formatting is to change or is to format a cell based on the information it provides. Format a cell based on the information it provides. At times you can work hard and have, you see, but don't abuse conditional formatting. If you abuse conditional formatting, you end up making your work look some way. You stick to some one or two things that you want to use. If you would wish to remove everything or manage the conditional formatting rules, you can come here and then just probably sorry, I am looking at just one thing. So you can come here, manage rules, current selection, and you take this workbook. So it will show you, if you select this workbook, it will show you all the formatting that are in there. You can decide to delete or edit. We have delete rule here. You can decide to edit the rule and change. If probably this time around you should look for names that contain something of the sort. So let's just say right now we are looking for those that rather contain khaki and not and when I do this and apply, it will now, you see, I didn't go to select that range of cells, but automatically, because I'm managing the rules here and I applied, it has automatically done what it is supposed to do. Good. So you can come and work with it. So like I said, the basic idea behind conditional formatting is to actually change the format based on the condition. So the condition is what we are applying. It is very good for duplicates, finding duplicate values. I don't know if there are duplicate values in here, but I can also come here and then do conditional formatting. If you come here, like I said, you easily find some of those. Quickly, you want to find some duplicate values. You come here and you do duplicate values automatically to give you a simple rule. There are no duplicate values. That's why you are not seeing anything. So let's just say that I want to duplicate some of the values. So I have one. I can see 1101. So automatically, as soon as I did 110, it has highlighted those duplicate values for me. One thing I don't like about the duplicate values is that I would have loved that it used different colors to identify different numbers or different values, not numbers. So let's just see, when I have, let's say 1122. So let's do 1122. I'm expecting, like, that is, I expect that, It's able to use different colors, but it will still show you that there is another 1122 somewhere. So search for it. Or there is another 1101 somewhere. So search for it. So if you continue deleting those duplicate values, you can search for those duplicate values and then probably scan through quickly. So the duplicate value is here, there's one there, there's one there, there's one there. Let's use July for something else too. The same thing. Now we want to use bars. Let's dwell on this side for now, the basics. You want to use bars. You can actually use solid fill bars or gradient fill bars to show endpoints of values. So let's just say I want to use this. This is too strong. Okay, so I want to use this to show higher and lower values, something of the sort. This is cool. So I hit this gradient fill. Now you see it's now showing me, so anything that is high I know is the highest. So this one seems to be the highest. This one, there seems to be some kind of reduction. Yes, so you can easily use these bars to detect which one is the highest and which one is not. In the same way, besides the bars, you can use more. There are more rules. There are more. You can use color scales. Color scales. I find color scales very confusing whenever I try using it, because if you are not good with colors, if you are color blind, don't try using color scales in your work, else you may not know where to pass when you are called to go and explain your data. So something of this sort, it uses red for very low values, then as it is going up to the higher values, but look, this one and that one, they almost look the same. So if you are using colors to actually identify what is what and you are color blind, you will get lost. But it's also an option there. It's also an option. You can also use icon sets. Icon sets to show which ones are higher, which ones are lower. So let's just say we are using directional. This one also uses something like an average. An average. There are some of these things that I would always tell people that if you don't really understand how these, if you are not into the financials and don't understand how these color gradings they stand for, how they work and all that, it's better you stay away from using them. So let's just select one here like that. So this is the highest. This is high, or let's say this is high. This is a high value average. Normally it automatically calculates based on the average. That's what it does. It automatically calculates based on the average. So this one is a 3, so it actually separates the numbers into three averages. So we have the high average, which are these ones, the ones you see green going up. We have the average numbers, the yellow ones. Then we have the below average numbers, which are the red pointing down. Let's come here to September. Let's also do something with September. Please, if I am running fast or you are not getting something, just quickly draw my attention. Let me take a break, then we can also even do rating. Let's just say we have this. Let me add another column, rating. Then let's just say one. Okay, this kind of rating. I'm just typing the rating based on like 5-point value. Oh, as for this one, you can type it on your own. It's not something that is part of it. But I want to show you this kind of ratings. So probably I will select these ones and I want to use rating. So I can come here, and this same icon set, there is the ratings icon set. You can use it where you see the stars showing half, 4, half. So 3 is like half. So 5 is 4, 3 is like half, 1 and 2 they are. You can also do that. Let me remove. Please, whenever there is a formatting rule, a conditional formatting rule apply and you don't remove it, if you want to maybe apply a new thing and you don't remove it, you'll be creating conflicts. You'll be creating conflicts for your, you may be confusing yourself as to what to use at what point. So when we go to more rules, like more rules here, manage rules. Let's come to icon set. You can come to more rules here, format cells based on their values. So we are using this one, we are using 3. So we say that when the value is less than or equal to, or greater than or equal to, or less than or equal to. So when the value is greater than or equal to, say, percent, this one we are using percent. We can also use number. We can use formula. We can use percentile. We are using percent. So when the value is greater than 67%, it will show this green. When the value is greater than 60, so you can apply these two. Let's say this is like working out the average for these two. Then when the value is less than 33%, but you can change it to say 20, and it will automatically. Oh, I was applying it here. I took it somewhere else. Sorry. So come here to say manage rules, then new rule. Let's use a new rule rather. So this is two color. This is icon sets, like we're using. This is data bars, like we're using. There are a lot of data bars. You have solid fills, gradient fill. You can, when you tell it to show bar only, check this. When maybe I'm using data bars, I can tell you to show bars only. So this time around, do not show me the values, but it will show me just bar. So let's see, lowest number. The maximum is the lowest number, and then this one is the highest number, like that. And when I click OK and apply, it is not going to show me the values there, but it's actually going to show me which one is the highest, which one is the lowest, and all that. Which one is the highest, which one is the lowest, and all that. Let me use October for another conditional formatting. This time around, you go to new rule, and this time around, I want to do something very different. Now, let's do something here. See, I want to clear the formatting here. So let's say clear rules from selected cells. So I've cleared the rule here. Now we are going to format this based on that. This is the last thing you'll be doing, then you end for the day. This one is, please shine your eye. We are going to format this based on that, right? So let's just say that this rule, this, we are going to say we are going to use, there is actually a way to also format cells using formulas. Maybe so I want to say that if this, equals if, always remember that you are working with functions. If this value, right, this time around, you see what is happening. I'm actually selecting just one. But we are not going to work with that one. So we are saying that if this is greater than, okay, there is, the lowest value is 10,000. So let me use, okay, it's 8,000. There's 8,000 there. So let me use 15,000. Yes. If it is greater than 15,000, true. This time around, you just have to write true or false. Simple. True or false. So you just write true or false, like that. You close. But listen, what is happening here is that you don't want, how do we call it? You don't want this to be static. You wouldn't want this to be static. You didn't want this to be static. So you would want to actually clear, because you are going to format it across. So if it is true, then we want it to format like, say, just red, and then probably a bold. This one is quite advanced than what we know already. Then we just click OK. Now see, I am formatting column A, but I am using the record here in column G, the values in column G, to format column A using a function formula. Using a formula. Don't get confused. When you get time, watch the video again. You get it this time around. So I have actually formatted this column based on what is here. So you realize that this value is less than 15,000. Sorry, this value is less than 15,000. So it didn't do anything to this. But this one is more than 15,000. So it formatted this one. So you can decide to leave these ones out. Maybe you want to actually look at who did well in their sales. So who sold much? Who sold above 15,000? You won't necessarily come and format this one. You just want to see by their names. So you can actually apply the formula I just showed you. Let's go to this worksheet. This formula, which says that if G3, it is actually using, I selected the whole sheet and applied. Don't get confused that it is using just G3. No. Because I selected a particular range of cells, it will apply it on all those. That is why I removed the absolute referencing. If you don't remove the absolute referencing, it is going to actually dwell all of its attention on just G3 and apply it across and do whatever it wants to do. So I'm just, for this type of using the if, you can actually apply a lot of functions in here, but you need to understand how to use it. Personally, I play safe by always sticking with if. The if function you see there's a very almost I would say almost 90% of programs, softwares you see, the most dominant logic within the softwares you see is the if statement. The most dominant logic within the software you see. So that is that. So you just tell it true or false. So if it is true, do it. If it is false, don't do it. Simple. Then you click OK. That is all. That is all, and it will do its work for you. So right now, when it realizes that, oh, this one is 20,000 plus, it has done it for you. This one is 10,000, it didn't do anything. This one is 18,000, it did. 13,000, it didn't do. 15,000 plus, it did. The rest that are below, it didn't do. So that brings us to the end of linking data across worksheets and workbooks. Oh, we didn't do workbooks, but don't worry, it's the same logic. When you get a workbook, you can still go and reference that workbook and bring it to your another workbook. Then conditional